Hello, my name is Ezra Pesach. I'm a biocreator and software developer at the RCSB PDB, and I'm holding this virtual office hour in order to discuss with you what's going to be happening with the protein data bank IDs in the next few years, and how you can start preparing for that now and ensure that when the transition does happen, you're ready for it. So, for those who have used the PDB for looking at structures and everything, you know that we use a 4-character PDB accession, like 4-HHB, 3-LTQ. And this graph is here to show how we expect by the end of 2027, early 2028, we are going to run out of 4-character PDB IDs. Now, you may think, why don't you just change that a little bit, like make it 5 characters, and I'll explain a little bit why we cannot do that. But this just explains the problem. So we have a plan of what we're going to do. We're going to take the 4-letter identifiers and extend it to 12 characters. We are going to have an accession that begins with the word PDB underscore, and then we're going to have 8 characters, 8 alphanumeric characters after there. And the reason for this is to help enable robust text searching. One of the challenges we have are finding PDB IDs within publications, because some of these identifiers look very much like other units. Like 3 GHz looks like 3 gigahertz, which will appear in many manuscripts. To transition this fashion, we're going to take the existing PDB IDs and just add PDB underscore 0000. That way, you could still reference the old 4-HHB, but moving forward, everyone will have a consistent look and feel for all the identifiers. In fact, you could look at an example in PDBx mmCIF over here on the right. This shows an example of what the accession code would look like, where for the PDB record, it'll say that the accession code is of this flavor, along with the DOI. So one of the big take-home messages is that when this transition happens, we, as a PDB archive, will no longer be able to produce files in the legacy PDB file format. This format was frozen in 2014. If you look just at the first line of this file, you'll see the PDB identifier over here. There's no room to expand this. Each row is in a fixed column and fixed position, and we don't have here and other places within the legacy format, there's no room to go to a 5th character. And since we have frozen this format in 2014, we have no desire to open up that legacy format, and therefore any new entry after this point will only be available in PDBx mmCIF format. In fact, we have a number of entries that cannot be produced in legacy PDB format today. In 2023, we ran out of 3-character residue names, such as ALA for alanine. There were 44,000 or so that were available. We ran out of them, so we extended it to 5 characters. For these entries, the PDB format, legacy PDB format files are not available, and right now, around 8,000 entries could not produce these files. This is around 3.5% of the archive, and this will just keep going up over time. So in 2014, a different format called PDBx mmCIF became the master format of the PDB. This is a human and machine readable format. It's extensible to support many different experimental methods. We could rapidly change it. We're not locked into a fixed position format with very specific remarks. This format is already supported by many refinement and visualization software programs. So you may not be aware of it, but they're able to handle it right now. We have a user guide that explains a simple guide of how to look at these files, and there's software available, which if someone has a question, we can talk about it, but software available to parse and produce such files. So what we want you to do as a user or developer of PDB data is to start today looking at your software that you use and make sure that it will work for refinement processing. It will work for any analysis that you might want to do. And you may want, as you should, start moving towards PDBx mmCIF today. All the entries are available in that format. And if you're doing any form of analysis, updating your software to work with these files now is going to save you a lot of headache down the road. We also would like you to start using the extended PDB IDs and manuscripts. When you submit a deposition to our deposition system, it'll tell you what the extended PDB ID will be. It will say, thank you for your deposition. It might say 4HHP/PDB 0004HHP. We like you to start using the extended PDB ID now. And as I said, stop using legacy PDB file format as soon as possible. For those who are journal editors, we are going to be contacting them, and we're going to be asking to change the format of their DOIs for referencing our structures, and that's going to be happening over the next year. So one question for those who manually download data from the PDB archive is, how will it change? Right now, we have a layout which is broken down by file type, so PDB versus PDBx mmCIF, or experimental type, experimental data, structure factor files, NMR chemical shifts, all in different directories. They're going to be pulled together into one directory per entry, and it's going to be similar to what we've already established for the versioned archive. The versioned archive is something we put together to allow depositors on record to revise their coordinate files after the entry has been released if someone discovers a problem or they want to improve something. But we provide the previous versions so people could go back and look at those. There are access patterns that will be changing. However, if you're using the RCSB PDB file download access API, this will handle transparently. If you start using this today, using the extended PDB IDs, they work. Our plan for by next year will be establish a beta archive with this new directory file system structure layout. And what we would like you to do next year is, if you're directly trying to access the archive files, update your software to use this format, because by 2028, the current layout of the PDB file archive will be changed to this new format. And this allows you to start testing early on, and if there are problems, give us feedback. We put together a 5-year transition plan. This just gives you an idea of what we've been up to. 2023, we started providing training materials and giving this information, spreading the word. We created a user guide, which I provided a link to before. And we've added the extended PDB IDs into almost every entry so far that's in the current archive, and then we'll be finishing that up in the next month or two. During this year, we are going to provide examples of these extended formatted files at GitHub site if you want to try parsing them. And we're going to be registering the extended PDB DOIs so that you can use them as a permanent identifier. By next year, we're going to establish a beta PDB archive around the extended PDB IDs, and we welcome you to start using it then. And there'll be announcements, I'm sure. And then by 2027, the deposition and partner websites will all support the PDB IDs. And then end of 2027, early 2028, whenever we run out of those 4-character PDB IDs, we will switch the beta archive to become the main archive, and that'll be it. So looking at some of the registrations, there's a few questions that people asked, and I'll just answer right over here. First question was, how will the PDB IDs be issued? We have not come to any definitive conclusion about any ordering. We will likely start with PDB_1, and that's to ensure that people don't try taking a shortcut and say, oh, I'll get rid of all the zeros and I'll just use the last 5 characters. We don't want to do that. And we'll likely have each processing site will be given 5,000 IDs at a time, like we currently do, and they will each issue them, and then we'll issue a new set of 5,000. How will the old PDB IDs be referenced? Well, they exist in publications already. So 4HHB, that's in a publication. So you can continue to use the old PDB IDs. The wwPDB websites will support references to the old IDs. You can still use 4HHB, but we will also support the extended PDB ID. So if you say PDB underscore 0000 for HHB, that should give you the same structure as for HHB. As I already said, the DOIs are being registered with both the old and extended ones, so that should start working soon. How will PyMol, CUD, etc. access new IDs? We have been communicating with various developers. Many have updated their software, so they all support PDBx mmCIF, not all, but the ones that we've contacted and working with. And we are encouraging them when the time comes to support a download or fetch functionality that will use the extended PDB IDs transparently, so you will not have to do anything special as a user. We have put together a frequently asked question and related resource at the wwPDB.org site. And over the next year or two, as we work our way through this process, we'll update these documents if we see there's any changes or answer any questions. And so the short answer thing to remember is structures in PDB format legacy format. The answer is no. Move forward and move to the PDBx mmCIF now.